For today, let's start with the agenda. And besides explaining you what is deep funding, that will happen really soon, we have an exciting announcement about the community website. We have a progress update on one of our projects on NerdConf, hopefully, if they can make it today. And probably what you're all waiting for, updates and improvements, suggestions for deep funding round 5. What are we all doing here? Why are we all here reunited? Because of deep funding, because of SingularityNET. And what is deep funding? Deep funding is a decentralized grants program tasked to fund projects and initiatives that are beneficial to SingularityNET. And overall, our mission, what we are trying to achieve, is the creation of a democratic, decentralized, and beneficial AGI. So if you have ideas, if you want to collaborate and help this happen, this noble vision, please join us. In terms of values, we just want you to be open, creative, collaborate, kind, so that we create a good environment where we all can grow, become better, and actually make some positive change in the world. Deep funding is a place full of opportunities for everyone as a community member, and you can start getting involved in many levels, right? Oh, sorry. All good, yeah. All right. You can start. You see, everyone can get involved, even interrupting. Sorry. So now, yeah, you can start with proposals. If you have an idea good for beneficial AGI, you can just vote, come, learn, engage with the community. We have discussions. We are always showing what we are doing and where we are moving towards, which is very positive. But you can also come, review proposals. Yeah, we have community reviewers. You can become an expert reviewer in itself and get rewarded for some of the valuable insights you provide to projects. And of course, as you get involved, as you become more experienced in deep funding and a community member, as we like to call it, you have opportunities with circles. Deep funding is super decentralized, and we have circles of community members actually running things here. Marketing, operations, events, which is run by community members. So we need people, we need good people that want to contribute for this vision. And the town hall, this moment here, is the space for the community. We gather here to discuss everything about deep funding, to learn more about deep funding, to share what we are doing here, what the projects are achieving, what the community is doing and achieving as well. And of course, is the perfect place for you to come interact and ask some questions. And as I mentioned previously, would love to hear from you. So if you want to book a time in the town hall to talk about any topic, about your project, about whatever you want, now we are going to have a community website that AO is going to tell us more about. Go ahead, AO.
All right, I will just quickly share screen. This is going to take less than 2 minutes. Hi, everybody. So I'm pretty much very excited to tell everyone that our website is now on. We are live now and want to achieve a couple of things with this community website. If if you are joining Deep Funding community for the very first time, it can get a little bit overwhelming because there's a lot going on. What are circles? What's team Deep Funding staff? What's happening? Who are these people? What are they doing? And all of that. And it could be really, really, dicey. So we have the community website to take care of that. So now you can simply come on the website, be able to access information and be kept in the loop. So very easy. For now, we have the circles. You can see all circles are represented here. Even data analytics, even data analytics is represented here. So from the circles point of view, this is a very good place for you to share about your circle. So I'll just take the liberty to show marketing circle, for example. All right, so if you click on marketing circle here, it will take you to the marketing circle page. All right. And then stuff about marketing circle, what they are doing, what they want to do. And you can see beautiful faces of eminent and preeminent members of the marketing circle, and then you have blogs. Now, blogs obviously are ways for you to tell people what you are all about in your circle. Very good way to, put in the report half yearly and all of that, which obviously we'll talk about later. But this is community.deepfunding.ai. Now, this is just the first announcement. We'd like you to go see, especially as circle members, to see, is my circle well represented, and are there things that we would like to do? I mean, it's pretty much open, and then you can give feedback. And finally, the events. So now we have so much going on with events, and we want people to be able to know what events are going on, how they can attend. And if you want to present at an event, appropriate event, obviously, we want you to be able to go directly to the website and then just say, okay, I would like to reserve a presentation slot. You can do that right here on the site. And of course, you have all of the events on the events calendar. You have the community blog that shows all the blogs. You have upcoming notifications that give you tips and news of things happening. Half-yearly report is coming. The funding site is under maintenance. There's a tool for Cardano migration, so you can just pick all of those notifications here. Very easy to access. You have news, going on, and then you have glimpse of previous events. Amazing, because if you miss, you don't have to worry about catching up. We don't want you to miss events, but if you miss events, you can simply come here, access the previous events. This was September 11, now this is September 5.
Save something for the next town hall as well, Ayo. Don't forget, you'll need to come here and present this very well to the community.
All right, I'm well within 3 minutes, but I mean, that's fine. Thank you so much. So yeah, so please go and check and drop feedback for us. We'd like to see feedback, and then the next town hall we'll have a walkthrough with you. Thank you so much. I'll stop sharing now.
Thank you so much, Ayo. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's like just for you to have time to surprise us a little bit in the next town hall, because I mean, we'll try to teach the community how to go through these, and hopefully this will be useful for you to track events, to put your own events if you want. We'd love to have it there as well, and to have more reach. And of course, to go ahead, Jan.
You saw me unmute.
Yes.
Wow, you're so observant. Very small remark. The reason that I interrupted before is because I wanted to download or to open Rafael's presentation from the community website, because that is the thing that we could do. You reserve a slot, you upload a presentation, it's there for everybody, and I can click on it. Unfortunately, not all content on the website is yet perfect. It's still a work in progress. This is one of the things where there's still some old content that is hard to remove, but we'll get there tomorrow or the day after, and it will be an ongoing project. So And thank you, Ayo, for all the work on all the content that you collected and uploaded. Thank Usman, who's not here, for the development of the website. We worked quite a while on it, and there's still a lot we want to continue to do, but have a look for yourself. That's all.
Thank you, guys. Well, let's move forward because we have a packed town hall. Ale, are you here to present us a little bit more about your progress with NerdConf and your proposal?
Yes. That's clearly what I'm going to do today. Hello, everyone. How are you? How's everyone? How's the town hall going?
All good.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Very nice.
Nice. Okay. So without further ado, I will show you guys how we are progressing regarding the proposal we did some time ago. I'm going to put a timer on myself because I know I have 10 minutes. So I'll do this quick entertainment, and hopefully you guys can enjoy everything I have to show you today. So basically, we proposed the Snet Build-a-thon at DevCon. Why? Because DevCon is going to attract lots of people going there. More than 10,000 people is going to be there. They all know about Web3. So we were like, hey, there's going to be lots of people we can onboard easily to Snet. They know what a grant is. They know what a blockchain is, so we can show them. Basically, we are going to do a build-a-thon that's going to last 2 days. And okay, no, this is not the presentation. The first one I have to show you. I'm sorry. My deep funding. 1 second. Sorry. Because I need the milestone number 1. Technical problems. Technical problems. If you go to the Deep Funding website, you can go to our proposal, and there you will have the review because we have the first milestone approved. Now I have the right presentation. Now, for milestone number 1, we had lots of objectives regarding community partnerships. We have done more than 10 at this time. We already had 9 like 2 weeks ago, but we are already connected with even more people. We have a tentative agenda set up. So we are going to do during the build-a-thon, basically, first the talks, so people can understand what SNET is and what the funding does. Then we are going to do some networking games and group formation. And after that, we will do the build-a-thon. That scheme and that agenda will be done during the 2 days. We expect around 150 people and around 600 registrations. So 150 people end up coming up. We already have some speakers for this. We have thought about 9Cat Digital. That's like the leader of 9Cat. 9Cat Digital is like a hub for different tech communities of Thailand. They have lots of knowledge around calls and different personalities there. So they are a really good alliance, and they know lots about the ecosystem there. We thought about Basu for from the Education Guild to do a talk. We also have done the reservations of the planes and the accommodation, but that's very boring. No one cares about that. We have paid the designer, and we have done some cool designs for the flyers. I have sent all of these to Haley, that's from the marketing circle, so she can approve them at last. But we thought about mixing SNET with NerdConf, and something like this came up. So we invite nerds to craft ideas and win prizes. Whoever participates, if they win $1,500. So that's 1500. We have done some designs for the agenda. If you pay close attention, the back has like the SNET color. And we have done some designs for the speakers. It's going to look something like this, taking into account that NerdConf has some similar graphics, but we mix them with SNET, and something like this will pop up. Also, we have some designs for the sold out, because we know we can definitely bring 150 people in. And also the thanks for coming. So after the event, everyone is being thanked for us. Then we have done some cool designs for the shirts, that we actually have done this for even the pitch to tell the SNET ecosystem who we are. We have designed the shirts. We are working on some designs that are easier to print, because we already contacted some providers, and they told us that the designs had to be simpler. So we already done that. We thought that Ben would look really cool with these shirts, like really cool. Then we have done some designs for the notebooks and for the mugs. We want to have all this merch being provided for the teams. We also have done some venue scouting of 15 possible venues. You can click this link here to like see what we have scouted. we now have even some more possible venues. We are talking with the people from BitCup. They are an exchange, a really big exchange in Thailand, and they told us that they will be interested in hosting the event, but it's just an idea. We think they would be really good allies because everyone knows them, and like being in touch with them would make us like look good somehow, like Snet and NerdConf plus BitCup, that they are really well known there by the Web3 community. It could be a possibility, but we don't know yet. They have like the best venue yet. Like they are literally crossing the street from DevCon. So it's like a really, really, really good spot. But if that is not a possibility, after we talk with them in a more formal way, we just been exchanging some messages, we are going to go with this other option that we have that's called the T1. Is one of the like biggest buildings regarding technology there. It has nothing to do with the telephone line, nothing to do. It's just being called there because it's in Thailand and it's big and it's like Thailand one for some reason. So that's basically us. So to do like a little resumen, like a little quick checkbox, we have contacted more than 10 communities by now. We have done some pretty interesting alliances with 4 events that are going to be done near DevCon 2. So they help us advertising our event. We have the designs, we have scouting the venues, we already have the plane tickets, and it's going to be marvelous. Hopefully I can see all of you in the next milestone submission. We are really close to finishing the second milestone. We already contacted the merch providers and we already contacted the card setting providers. We are still seeing if we are going to go with them or other ones, but hopefully I can tell you maybe in 1 month. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ale. Great to see your progress, and also great to see the excitement and how you wanted to share this with the community. I think we're very happy, and it seems like you're really making a really cool event. You know, I'm sad I won't be able to make it there because it's too far away.
It's going to be really, really amazing. Actually, we were just talking about it yesterday with some Indian folks that are going to do a hackathon near our dates too. We think we can do some really good and interesting onboarding, hopefully. And yes, we are really, really excited for this opportunity. I was telling Jan yesterday that we are so happy because this opportunity might seem like nothing to other people, but for us it meant the world because it really like gave us an opportunity to show everyone that first of all a big thing like SNET with this like a cool mission of decentralizing AI trust us with this event, and also it shows everyone that NerdConf can pull out an event in the other side of the world, no matter if we don't speak the language where we're going, no matter if we know anyone where we're going, but we are going to do it and we're going to do it the best we can. Thank you really for this opportunity and for trusting us with your votes when it was the round. It really changed NerdConf story forever and for good. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you once again, Ale. And let's now move forward, I guess, with the deep funding round 5 suggestions of improvements, right, Rafael?
Yes, thank you, Rafael. Thank you, Ale, also for the presentation and for the all excitement and for doing this towards the growth of our community, the program, and etc. Also, thank you, Ayo, for the presentation on the community website. A quick one, because the longer one we are going to have soon with even more features in that portal, which is very, very, very important to us. So yeah, thank you, everyone, not only for presenting, but also for being here. You are crucial for us to discuss, and let me start here, for us to discuss the changes that we are suggesting for the next round. We know that the purpose of Deep Funding is to onboard quality services, AI services, on our decentralized AI services marketplace from Snet, right? So given that purpose, we are going to every time or each time deeper into improvements, but mainly having the feedback from the community, understanding the hurdles or the glad part of it as well, which is important for us to improve this process. As you can see, for instance, with the community website, we are on the fly, right? So we are doing this and experimenting as well. This is very important for all of us to have, to be aware of. So proposed changes, we can start here. Is my screen full for you guys? Just checking here. There are no blocks, right, in it. Okay, sounds good. First, starting the process. Just after the round 4, which we had a few months ago, we started the process of collecting community feedback on what happened. So we went through 2 weeks of surveys, talks, town halls. At that time, that the town halls were weekly held. So we discussed it with the community, and we got 114 feedback inputs through these forums, and also discussions in the calls itself. Okay, this came through 3 different surveys, and also 1 survey in Spanish. So this shows that we are really willing to get more input from the communities, even in different parts of and regions of the world. The overall retrospective was what to keep, what to change, and what to stop doing it. And we also had a portal feedback, which was the first time that we used the portal for submitting proposals and communicating and etc. Before, just to you to know, we were used to use the Sway portal. It's a different one. We created one to be more suitable for our needs. And also, one very important part of that that round was the expert review process and experience. We received a lot of input mainly from these 2 topics here, the portal feedback and the expert review process, but also considering other issues that we had. So we had from our perspective, we had a very good feedback. 114 people from our community were able to feedback towards us, and which brought the idea of creating a work group for discussing it, assessing, discussing it, creating, and implementing after the discussion with the community again, which is the process that we are now, the step that we are now. The work group differs, and it's important to make clear as well. Deep Funding has a circle strategy, and the circles are more fixed in the sense of developing activities for Deep Funding, tasks, ideation, and etc. As Ayo showed, we have plenty of circles that are working along with us. But the work group itself, it's meant to be built or created, execute the task, and then to be dismissed. right? We have here the structure and method of this work group that we decided to create around the changes of next round 5. But it's important to mention that when bringing members into it, I was also aiming for not only bringing the same members from our community that composes normally our activities, whether in the town halls or in talks or going in person events and etc. So I, as the operations manager of the program, I am dealing with a lot of people. So I was able to detect or know who were more suitable for bringing not only their expertise, but also the excitement. And we have here, as you could see by yourselves, we had Ale participating in this work group, given their excitement and supporting and also expertise in one of the 6 areas that we put in this. So Ali came from, she was a Deep Funding Round 4 proposer, right? So to give their perspective. But also we have the Deep Funding representative, we had marketing circle, a marketing circle member, a review circle member, an expert reviewer, which, as I mentioned, was a very important process in our full scope, and our UX UI lead within Deep Funding, given the fact that many of these changes here might impact our tooling, portal, and etc. But also given the fact that we received a lot of inputs from the community about the portal. Okay, so these were the main stakeholders involved in Deep Funding Round 5. I believe it's not a problem at all if I can here point. For instance, we have Tobias from the review circle that participated and also gave a very good perspective from the review circle that goes through the whole process that the proposers and project awarded projects are there. Mahdi from the expert review, Anna from the marketing circle, and also Greg from the UX UI, which is the UX UI lead. Okay, and of course connecting with a lot of people, getting feedback as well while we were developing this. The structure and what happened was we had weekly meetings for 10 weeks, about 2 months, right? And these were around 2 hours per week, only for the meetings, plus the work that we were teamed to do outside or asynchronously, right? Through Mattermost channels and research and etc. This gives us more than 100 hours allocated in total, with an average of 20 hours per member, well, by the calculations. And the rewards were the same, and I think this comes also towards transparency. That's why I am informing here about this $10 per hour that we are paying or rewarding the participants. Okay, and also to show you that we really appreciate the contribution of these members, and we want to have them also in the sense of commitment. So here is the information. During the first 2 weeks, we have additional feedback and research coming from this work group. So we have direct contact with community members that we also input into that feedback from the community. And we had also a research on actually a benchmark on existing funding programs. And we are talking within Web3 industry and also outside Web3 industry, like governments, for instance. This for giving us the overview on what are the best practices for a funding program. The meeting agenda, work structure definition and community feedback assessment, 2 weeks, definition on the top issues to be solved. We detected 3 issues, okay? If we come here to the right side, it was mainly quality issues that we had. Given the feedback from the community, we detected this. Quality in the proposals that were submitted. Quality around the reviews that we performed, and also voting quality. That were the 3 top main issues that we detected, and those were the findings that were based on the feedback that the community gave, but also on our own perspectives, okay? And they converged into these 3. So it's not that we got more weight from one side or the other. So these 3 main topics here, or issues, drove us through these weeks of ideating, designing, and proposing changes. Now we are going to get into the changes itself. And I would love to ask any of you to give input, or even to make questions if something is not clear enough. But we are going to have a proper feedback form where you can go and give your feedback, and you can get back to this presentation, also a blog post and documentation that you can read every change that we are proposing here for giving your feedback and potentially changing our suggestions, okay? If you have anything to ask or give a feedback now, and you urge to do that, wait for me to end the slide and also the benefits of those changes, and then you can make your question, okay? Just for us to flow, we have a lot. It's a pretty packed process here that we have, so that's why I'm willing to have this format, okay? So about the changes, the following are suggestive changes to be debated, okay? As I mentioned, the work group already discussed and analyzed each of these in depth, but of course you are more than welcome to propose and suggest changes for the changes, okay? We are only starting the new round when these changes, with these changes, when this here happen. We are going to have the community feedback during 2 weeks. And during this, we are not having strong or valid objections as consensus. So if we don't reach consensus, if someone gives a, hey, I don't agree, I disagree with this change here because of this pretty important objection. So we are going to assess and say, it's important to change indeed, okay? That we might need, or depending on the outcome of these changes, we are going to need technical portal adjustments as well. So we have to go through that, okay? And the review process has all the needed resources. As you are going to see, the review process now, it's going to be more strict and also thorough. And for that, we need more resources. For instance, more expert reviewers. And we are only starting the next round, when we have this in place. It's important to have these assumptions for you to understand the full scope of it, okay? Changing here. So the first suggested change for happen is the pools for proposals. As I mentioned, the purpose of deep funding is to onboard AI services, quality AI services, on our marketplace, decentralized marketplace. And through the previous 5 rounds, considering also the 4 beta, we had other types of pools like tooling, marketing, miscellaneous, RFPs, etc., etc., etc. We are now, given some reasons, willing to aim in AI services pool, which is the previous new services. The name now AI services is also a change because we want to give direct information. Hey, it's an AI service, so you have to have an AI service proposal to submit here. And they can be developed from scratch, adapted for onboarding to the marketplace, existing services that are there in the world, and then you want to bring into our marketplace, connected to onboarded projects to consume services. So you want to create a service or a solution that will consume services through APIs, through API calls from an existent service onboarded on our marketplace. Okay. So we are also funding this type of projects and proposals. But you can also suggest improving an existing service that is already onboarded in our platform. And that comes from the idea that we are willing to have competition, why not? Okay, but also to have better and better services on the platform. But a good policy here would be to get in contact with the team and then dialogue and say, hey, I have some suggestions to improvement of your service. And then you can go together and provide a new proposal, submit a new proposal for improving it. Okay, but given the licenses and if the proposal is has an open source code and etc., you can also improve the project by our fund. The second pool, ideation pool. And the ideation pool will see the same type of submissions where you are going to propose an idea and work towards the planning of this idea. And this comes also under the focus on quality. When you ideate first, plan better, you are going to deliver next round or to submit next round, improve it in quality proposal for an AI service. Now, however, differently from before, we are going to request a more structured approach for the ideation pools proposals. You are going to deliver a marketing research, financial planning, technical overview. It might be architecture or something like that. It depends on the depth of the funding that you are requesting. And the onboarding process as well. This is very important for you to know as a project lead. How are you going to onboard your proposal or your project or service on our marketplace? These are the 2 pools that we are willing to bring into the next round. Other or former pools, they are going to leverage another approach that we are using or another format for funding, which are the RFPs, requests for proposals. And why is that? Again, because we are willing to focus on the quality of the onboarding processes. And Deep Funding doesn't have as much resources that we can go in many directions as marketing, tooling, and etc. But we know what we need, and we can propose or request through the RFP. So, we need this tooling. We are going to create the RFP, and we are going to go to the community for the community to propose, submit proposals to us, and then being selected through this process. Okay. One first approach that we want to have, and here comes also interesting, the event circle, which we are already discussing, the regional town halls, that we want to expand these town halls into regions, given the time zones, given the language, and etc. We are having the RFP for regional town halls. So marketing stakeholders can propose here, given the RFP, but can also propose in other RFPs that we are going to create, considering our needs. Okay, if you believe you have an idea that we are not requesting at the point, you can also ideate an RFP through a process that is being developed by the work group of RFP, and Jan is leading here. Okay, so it's not that you are not going to be able, if you are working and prefers to work with tooling or marketing, or you have a out-of-the-box idea, we still have this door for you to participate in our program. Going further, the benefits, more focused and streamlined resources allocation aligned with deep funding purpose, ensures high-quality competitive services for the SNET marketplace, enhances control over support proposals, funding only necessary and well-thought-out initiatives, aims to improve the overall quality of projects onboarded to the marketplace. So basically what I already discussed. Any questions, remarks about it from you, community, our beloved community? Questions? Okay, Crypto. Glad to see you here. Really glad to see you here. Thank you.
Maybe turn on video. Thank you, Rafa. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I do have a question because I really want to, as many of you, some of you may have noticed, we have some already organized some meetup in China, and we have some developers who are very interested to contribute to our ecosystem. So I'm now actually leading them to learn about the AI services and the stuff. So I just see what you shared in your PPT. So I just want to know, do we have any kind of examples or samples for us to learn how to like publish AI service? We do browse the developer portals, but we still think it's a little difficult for newcomers, for new entrants. So we do really want to contribute. So we want to try to find the easy way to start. So thanks, Rafa. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, it's very, very important to have this onboarding process, and also what we called once the scout program on how to reach more people. And now it's been delivered or developed by a specific group of circles, which comprises marketing circle, event circle, and also the developers outreach circle that are reaching to these prospects of community members or proposers and bringing them in with the right process of onboarding. More specifically into your question, we do have documentation around this, which is also coming from SNET, not Deep Funding properly, which is also on an ongoing process of evolvement, because the platform itself, it's also evolving. So we have to develop and improve the platform and also the documentation. That's why you can find at the beta.singularitynet.io, yes, the documentation there for onboarding. I can also, and I believe I also shared with you the contact, more specific, the contact in Mattermost for you to discuss and perhaps get even your feedback on the material that we have already there, for you to get and being able to spread through your network there of college students and so on. Okay, and I have to say I am pretty excited and looking forward to see Asian teams proposing in this future RFP that we are going to launch for making town halls in that region. Okay, so more than welcome to see you and others proposing here and making this part of the world also more interested and participative in our process. Yeah, thank you for the question.
I can ask a question as well, if it's possible.
Yeah, please.
Rafael. So one question I got when I was reading it for the first time was like, for example, imagine you have a project and you intend to use services or something from the spin-offs of SingularityNET. Is that included, or is only if the services are in the marketplace?
If the services are in the marketplace. Our purpose goes directly towards the marketplace. So if the spin-off has the service there, which is something desirable, and which we are also open to fund, then it can be used. And can be even a push for it. So if you want to use a service or create an API call for those spin-offs, you can contact the spin-off and say, hey, let's propose for you to onboard in the Snet marketplace a service, and then I can also create my proposal consuming that service. By that, I have another very important thing here to remark, which comes since round 3, when I joined it. For having a third party participating in your proposal, you have to be sure and get that a written confirmation that the third party is walking with you. Okay, otherwise it's just, oh, I'm bringing Bill Gates, Elon Musk, or I don't know, a president from somewhere, and say, hey, this person is here with me. So we are going to be more strict in this part as well, to avoid situations where a proposal is awarded and then they can't perform or execute their proposal given the third party is not interested. Okay, so but it's a way of doing it.
Okay, and maybe I can quickly ask another question. So we are going to move the other things like marketing or tooling or whatever to RFPs. And then the RFPs, who is going to evaluate them? Is it the community? Is it like a specific task force, or?
Then it's a specific task force that's being built again as we grow to assess the ideation process, but also the proposals that we have. And this is going to be performed by top high-level experts on the proposals and etc. Which also are going to potentially include community as experts, but it's a process that is under development at this point.
Thank you.
Okay. More? Okay, sounds good. No objections so far for the 2 pools. So 2 pools for us to be more focused: AI services and ideation. Okay. Second change, suggestion, it's the proposal submission. We are going to create categories. Each proposal will have 2 categories. The industry that the proposal is the main industry that the proposal, for instance, gaming. So you are going to put that the proposer are going to tag that proposal as the gaming industry, but also the main technology or AI field that it's using. And it can be natural language or NLP, computer vision, forecasting, reinforcement learning, or data science and analytics. Okay, and why is that? We are going to improve the expert review process, and we want to have the experts, really experts in that field, to assess and coach you, the proposer, through the process. For that, we need to allocate the proposal into the right expert background, and we are going to talk this a little bit further. So it's important for us to know that that proposal is in such a category or field. Okay, and the category of industry, it's not that important at this point for the reviewer, the expert one, because it's more on the tech side. But for the voter, if I am from the agriculture, if I work with agriculture, for instance, which is an industry, and I want to assess and evaluate and vote in the agriculture-focused projects. So I have the categories there, and I'm going to go through those projects to vote. I have no idea about gaming or robotics. Why am I going to spend my time reading that and giving my vote? And that falls also under the quality process that we are willing to improve, right? The voting quality. So we are giving tools for the voters in the community to really assess the proposals. Given the fact that we had so much proposals last time, even though now we might see fewer because we would have only 2 pools, it is still too much to go through and understand the minutiae of it and give a quality vote. So we are restricting or narrowing for voters to read. Also, in this AI field here, it's again for us to give a better review and coach. Okay, so these are 2 very important topics for these categories that we are creating. Another important improvement and suggestions for improvement, it's the success criteria in milestones. We have seen through these previous rounds, and just to refresh the minds here, we have the deliverables of each milestone. But the deliverables itself don't follow a criteria. It's okay, I'm going to deliver a Google Doc with this topic. What are we reviewing after the project is awarded is more subjective than it should be. And this opens possibilities where the proposal comes and is assessed by the voters and voted considering a high-level deliverable, high-level quality, high-quality deliverable. And then when we receive, we can't argue necessarily with the team if they deliver what they promised, but not in a high-quality way. So the success criteria come for this. Now we are going to have some KPIs, or even if it's still a bit subjective, we still have a better way to judge the milestone which is delivered here. This also comes along, of course, with the fact that we are not here funding proposals and projects for just build the solution and fly away and perhaps propose again for receiving a fund again and then deliver and go away. We want services, ongoing services on our marketplace and with quality. And if you are a project proposer and awarded project lead, you want to make revenue from it. That's the idea of having the marketplace, right? So delivering quality milestones and therefore services will bring more revenue for you. So we also rely on that for this milestones quality, but we want to be more strict or data directed here. The expert reviewer that is going to coach you, or the proposer, is going to give these suggestions on the criteria, success criteria that should come, and also guide through the creation of specific milestones during the submission period. I'm gonna talk a bit more about it in the next part, in the next change. So the benefits: tailor proposals and reviews to specific AI fields and industry for more accurate assessments, promotes higher quality evaluations, ensures only the most relevant and competitive projects are selected, improves tracking of projects' progress with this criteria, success criteria, and enhances the quality of AI services, which is our main goal or purpose, right? We want to have quality AI services, not only AI services. And now I'm opening here for any remark or question, input. I have a pen here too. Esther, please.
Yeah, I have a question about proposals and the categories. So now that you've narrowed it down to the two different pools, what happens to relatively well-developed ideas that are not AI based? So it's not really ideation, but it's also not technical solution.
Well,
but it doesn't require ideation because it's already a well-developed idea, but it's also not a technical solution.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question, because it has to be very clear here. We are not requesting or requiring your idea to go through the ideation pool to then go into the AI service pool. Okay, you can propose directly into the AI service pool. What we are willing to do or to provide, it's a space. Let's call it a safe space where you can go if you are not in the position you mentioned, Esther. Well, I am not sure about how to do it, or if this is a good idea. Perhaps I don't have a market. I do believe I have a market for this, but perhaps not. So I can go towards I can submit in the ideation pool, receive some funding to do this market research along with the financial planning, etc., 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 and then be more assured that, yes, you know what, there is a marketing openness here, a market openness here for my service. We are aiming for the service, not for the awarding projects, right? That's why it's important to know the afterwards as well, after onboarding.
Okay, that makes sense. But what happens if you have an idea that isn't specifically platform related, but is generally good for the growth of deep funding, which indirectly helps the platform? So marketing initiatives that, for example, are already fully developed and don't require ideation, but that, like a marketing initiative that you formed, it doesn't really belong in the AI services pool.
Well, then it would be through the RFP process, and then it should be we wouldn't be funding your thought about the marketing idea. You would be proposing and ideating the RFP, same thing, right? But not going through the ideation. And just to clarify another thing as well, the ideation pool never was meant to ideate marketing proposals or tooling. It was only for the AI services, like it is now. So if you have an idea for marketing and you are not sure about, it was always on you. Was always on you for you to develop your idea and say, it's interesting. So do I have to talk to someone else? It's on you. It was not funded by Deep Funding. Okay. So the process goes through the RFP now. You have to write an RFP or ideate the RFP and propose.
Okay. Is there still a marketing pool, or is that
no?
Okay, so there's no marketing pool.
Ideation for AI services and AI services. If you have a marketing idea, you have to go through the RFP process. As I mentioned that we are going to launch, at least this one, the regional town halls to attend the entire world, well, parts of the world, with our town halls and spread the communication from Deep Funding and education.
Okay, thanks for the explanation. That helps.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the questioning as well. Ken, please.
Hello, howdy. Okay. I have a question. So for development of services, I'm envisioning being able to say, okay, we think there's a market here for this particular service. This many people may use it. It may bring in this amount. But what is the perspective on what emerges during development? Is there still, say, 20% scope available for things that are discovered during development that might improve the process? Like we discover, for example, a different way of delivery is more effective. How do we equate the specificity with that?
You brought something very interesting that we didn't cover, to be honest, because it happens. It happens. I have received changes in milestones or requests for changes in milestones due to the fact that AI and technology evolves so quickly, right? And then, hey, this here that I proposed, it's not well, high-end or technology anymore. We have new things, so I have to change. And we assess one by one these cases because they are very specific yet, okay? Perhaps we can think about being very objective in giving flexibility for when the technology evolves and you are going through your development process. But it has to be linked with the fact that we as Deep Funding, we don't demand a deadline for your milestones deliverables and therefore not for your project, okay? So imagine that if you are taking 2 years to deliver, and then we have the flexibility for you, not you, okay, for the proposer and the project lead to get evolving and perhaps requesting more fund, which I don't see happening, might be tricky because we are going to change given the fact the proposer or the project is taking too long for the final deliverable. And we are also going to bring this in a quick, at least this expedite process of deliverables, of delivering the service. But yes, I would love to hear from you. I'm going to, by the end of the presentation, to give a link to the form. And I would love to hear your perspective and suggestions into this, how we could be more flexible in receiving updates in proposals, because we have to also have in mind that the community voted in that, right? So it can be problematic for us to change or accept changes if the community voted on that. But I understand your point of view as well. It's as important as we have this responsibility with the community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. And really looking forward for your input in the forum. Anyone else?
I can make a question again.
Please.
So we are going to have expert reviewers that are actually experts in AI, in different fields. Do we have enough experts already? Are we going to have to find them? And if we are, what is the plan?
Yeah, that comes here. The review process has all the needed resources. No, but you are right in making this question because it's pretty valid. We are. Can I answer you in the next change?
Yeah,
because I talk
course.
about, so I
Yeah.
can go through the whole rationale behind it's going to be better. But it's an important question as well. Okay, Cardoso. So getting going. This is the biggest, the change 3. It's the biggest change that we are bringing here. It's through the expert review members and expert review process. Sorry. Okay. First main change. We are going to implement a coaching process. And for that, remember those categories of reviewers and projects. We are going to allocate each proposal that is submitted to a specific reviewer that's going to take the whole life cycle of the proposal. And not only when it's a proposal. So we have proposal, Then the proposal becomes awarded project. Then the awarded project becomes a service, onboarded service. So we have these changes through the life cycle of the proposal. And during the awarded project, well, first the proposal, which is going to go through some steps or phases. The awarded project also goes through milestone reviews. So just here, you can see how important it is for having only one expert reviewer being the owner of these reviews and coach of the proposal. The expert knows the project. Now, or before, what we used to have was one reviewer would go there and review. And then when you have the proposal becoming an awarded project, another proposer, or sorry, another reviewer would take to review the milestones. So this created, or used to create, a break or a gap in the knowledge about the process and how you deal with the fact of the consequences of your act as an expert review, right, in the beginning. And now, if depending on your performance as an expert reviewer in the beginning, you are going to face the consequences, let's put it this way. It's not something to penalize, right? But you can make your work easier when reviewing the milestones because you performed better in the beginning of the process when it was only a proposal. So we want to give this perspective to and possibilities also to the expert reviewers for them to make, okay, I'm going to give more effort, more time, because I know that if I do that good work here, this is going to become a awarded project and it's going to be onboarded in the marketplace. So I'm going to have more tasks to perform, work, and it's going to be good. I will be part of this successful project. Yeah, so is it clear? An expert reviewer will be designated to a proposal at the beginning, and it's going to take all the things. Walter, I would appreciate your questioning, but after the presentation here, okay? No problem, you can keep your hands up. So the whole process for the reviewer. Proposal distribution, given the fact you are going to get that proposal as an expert reviewer, we are going to allocate or designate this within the category of the expertise of the proposer, of the reviewer, but also in a systematic way. So the first reviewer will get the first proposal that is submitted, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on, to avoid a proposer or expert reviewer choosing who should be reviewing or being reviewed. Okay, it's to prevent bias in the process. First come, first served, right? Then we have the reviewer selection, and kind of tight is linked with your question here, also, Cardoso. An expert reviewer lead will assess current reviewers for expert status. We have, as many of you know, a review circle that has reviewers, but we are willing to assess them and understand if they are indeed experts, or what are the categories that they are going to be in this new process. So they are passing through this process of assessment, and we are going to get more expert reviewers into this circle. Okay, this body of new experts will be added considering the category that they are in, but also if they have experience and expertise in peer reviewing academic articles or projects and etc. Because this is something that is very tied tied with the quality as well, right, of these reviews, and therefore the final the outcome of the process. So we have this criteria for the new reviewers, and as mentioned here, we have an expert reviewer lead, which at the time is Mahdi, which came from the expert review group into this position role, actually, into the review circle, and is developing the process along with Deep Funding and others as well. And with you, because you can give your feedback and show, improve what we are proposing, or even giving a different direction if it makes sense. We are more than open to make it happen. So, Rafael, I guess that would be the case. We do have reviewers that are being assessed at this point, and in the short term, hopefully, we are going to onboard more experts that have a specific background in those AI fields, okay, and also having expertise in peer reviewing. Okay, and besides the expert reviewers, we also have the review process receiving suggestions for change. And we discussed this with the community, many of the members. I remember Gabriel talking, Sobir talking as well during many of the meetings that we had about this gated review process. And also this gated review process came from the workgroup research in other funding programs. If you remember, we did that research before, and it's very important to have this assessed here. So the first one is the eligibility review that we already have, but differently from the previous one, the expert reviewer as a coach will go through this process, and the proposal it's going to stay with the expert reviewer, not going to another one, with the coaching process, okay, guided by designated reviewer. The expert review will come after for those that are selected. And for that, we are going to provide to all the proposals the report. If some of you probably remember, last round, we provided reports only for those that were recommended. Now, 100% eligible proposals are going to receive this report. And the report will come with critics and good points and etc. And it's going to be more thorough as well about that proposal, okay? And this is also going to be shared with the community. From this report and this process, and I didn't put the process here because as now, we have the same process for the expert review, okay, which is individual assessment for the proposals, and then the experts getting together and discussing the points that they have in a live meeting or call. So they are going to discuss, oh, I saw this is not a good thing, or this is very good, and then why do you think it's not? It's a point of critique here. Not necessarily. And then they are going to debate and discuss all the things, creating this final report and a score, okay? What we are suggesting to change now as well is to have a ChatGPT assessment on the proposal as well. It's going to be a standard prompt that's going to be developed by the expert reviewers and Deep Funding and potentially community members as well. This prompt will go through the proposals, and it's going to give a report and a score. This score is going to be 20% of the final score, or the weight of 20% of the final score, and 80% of weight of the score is coming from the reviewers. This is Pareto's, right? 80-20. But to avoid, imagine that I have the prompt here and I show you, hey, this is the prompt that we are going to use for your proposal. Then you get your prompt, then you get this prompt, go to ChatGPT and make your proposal based on it, and you are going to receive a high score. No, we are going to keep it confidential until the score or the submission part phase is done. Okay, so you can't change anymore your proposal, then we are going to review the prompt that we use. It's going to be transparent, okay? Just for to secure the quality of proposals. And why this is important, we have seen proposals being created by generative technology, and it's fine. We are an AI organization. However, what we can't accept and allow is to have teams that doesn't know what they are talking about, because they asked ChatGPT to create. ChatGPT created a very nice proposal, and it goes to the voting phase, and it's voted, and now my team has no idea how to develop or deploy this, right? So again, connected to the quality of the vote and also the proposal that we had at those three issues. Yeah, so considering this, we are going to create an interview phase. But for you or your proposal to get into an interview where the experts are going to ask you questions to understand if you know what you are saying or what you are selling as your proposal, it has to have 7 and above 7 and above scoring, okay? From this expert review here, 80-20 score, it has to be 7 above. This is tied again to the quality of voting. Many times we might be thinking that, oh, quality voting, let's gate the voting process for the voters, which is tough to do sometimes. We are going to reputation and etc. that we are getting there, but not there yet. So what we are willing to do is to bring more quality proposals into the stage of voting, to a point that any proposal that is selected there, it's going to be a good one, and it will deliver the quality that we are willing to onboard in our marketplace. Okay, so only 7 above are going to the interview, and the interview is going to be live. The experts are going to ask the proposer if they know what they are doing, and give the thumbs up, thumbs down. If the proposer believes that it was not fair, the assessment, they can appeal. So we are going to have an appeal phase going again, and perhaps the way I said it wasn't the right way, that's why I had thumbs down. I want to have the possibility to explain again and better what I am willing to do and show how I am going to do. So after this appeal phase, they can receive the approval. Okay, it's a second chance for the teams to prove that they know what they are doing, or at least promising. Yeah, so only approved proposals goes to the voting phase, and we are going to have the community voting. We are testing full tracks algorithm from round 4 as well. This is something apart, but just for you to know that we are implementing some improvements in this area as well. Here are the benefits. I'm going to open now because I believe I already talked about these benefits through the presentation. If any of you, including Walter, of course, has remarks or questions about. Ken, please.
Front row. Okay, so my background, I'm a science fan. So my projects involve currently dealing with flooding prediction and dealing with understanding how water availability affects ecosystems. But my background is also in the arts. I'm interested in artistic expression and in social good for my neurotype, for example. Now, assuming that the proposal has identified a market, has identified a solid scientific basis for its algorithms, how can one imagine these changes will affect the balance of the success of these kinds of social good or cultural projects versus more scientific projects?
Well, if I understood correctly, your question is about the balance between, hey, my project might not be the most technical one, but I am doing social good. And if I'm doing social good, I'm going towards the mission of SingularityNET as well. So I should be well assessed in this dimension as well. And yes, this is going to go through the criteria that we are developing for the expert review process, where we are going to consider, we now have those 4 criteria for selection, right? Feasibility, viability, so on, so on. And the social good also is a criteria within, like ethics as well, right? For judging and assessing and scoring your proposal. Not only technical part, okay? But this is going to be also something on. And remember that when we have the expert reviewers doing the expert review, they also have the perspective of other instances, which is not only the technical one. And that's why we are bringing more than one expert reviewer to give the final assessment on each proposal. Because only one might be just, okay, I am only technical, I don't care about the social good or the cultural and etc. But now we have more people that can reduce the bias in this process, and also ChatGPT that can have some a part of the prompt specified for this. Okay?
It's fascinating. Thank you.
Thank you. More? Yeah, Walter, please.
So these are, mine at this point is more of an outsider proposer view. And to me, these are very substantive changes. I think the idea is very solid and come from evaluating opinions, but to me, some are a bit confusing, specifically with the mixing the AI evaluation with the human evaluation. My preference would be to keep them separate. One thing I've been tracking AIs through the releases, and it's kind of dicey. And the topic of identifying AI-generated content is, again, something I know too much about, and it's a separate field from, like, ChatGPT is not necessarily your best authority on whether ChatGPT generated the text. So to me, it's like teasing apart what it is that you're pursuing. Is it detecting the content? Is it using it for evaluation? And then keeping it separate from the human, opinion. Because to me, I actually want to look at them in isolation. Mm-hmm. And the sort of more of a combined consensus on expert review, the concept is good, but it would kind of eliminate an important data source in assisting FOTRAC in their methodological research. One area that was difficult to segregate is the social effects, which is like looking at other votes before creating yours. So having this independent collection of expert reviews so they kind of each do their own survey was a positive as compared, it was an interesting, solid data point. So again, it may be just a question of having access to the intermediate results before they're rolled up would be useful for this level of detail in evaluation. So I'm just like probably technical to specific of inputs, but that's kind of was my take.
Yeah. It's not that it's too technical, it's just that I'm trying to make the link in between the algorithm flow track and the assessment of the
Right. So a part of the model was to look, a proposed model was that basically people look at existing evaluations and then the result would be closer to those. And that's the hypothesis. And to me, having the experts independently doing their evaluations was an example of not having that effect kicked in, so we could compare the two. So that was just like I valued that data source and maybe just having it available, the independent part, is then separate from the consensus.
When you say independently review, you are saying the individual reviews that comes before the consensus in, for instance, among 5 reviewers that are reviewing one proposal. So we have the individual.
When you arrive at the final score and you would have a meeting and then arrive at something that's an adjustment to just, averaging your surveys. I'd rather have both, the averaging and then the adjusted.
Okay. We have an average and also the one that the consensus bring and connect and put the two together. That's the idea.
Right.
For the scoring.
As giving your scores was perhaps we'll have another 200 proposals. You really kind of want one, input so you can work through it. But if you're doing some kind of back testing or some kind of more elaborate evaluation than having those averages,
we have
more rigorous mathematically, even if perhaps less accurate.
We have to check as well the data that you had to get this conclusion, because during round 4 we had the expert reviewers making this, but not necessarily we had all the individual ones registered, right, as a report and etc. But for the scoring, yes, so it might be a possibility. But I would like to address your first question about the 80-20 weight, right? We are not trying to detect with that. We are not trying to detect ChatGPT generated proposals. That's not the idea here. What we are willing to have is ChatGPT scoring and creating a report about that proposal. The detection of generated proposals that the team doesn't have any idea, any clue about it, it will come with the interview. So the interview, it's the gatekeeper of those teams that created, that generated the proposal, but has no idea what they are talking about. Okay, we are not against generated proposals. No, but you have to know what you are proposing, right? It's not just to ask the ChatGPT to create and copy and paste. You have to go through, perhaps even debate with the ChatGPT back and forth, trying to fit better what you know and trying to understand better and so on. What we want to have is the final. It's the onboarded project and a quality project. That's the point. If your team doesn't know what you are doing, it's not good enough for us.
Right, yeah. Detecting those is good. I can tell you that it takes a little bit of effort to figure out, whether it's well worded or whether it's generated. I remember because the result ends up pretty good, and now the latest ChatGPT is very good, and it still doesn't know anything about what it's saying. It's just sophisticated averaging of what people out there are saying. It has no creative ability. Kind of by definition, it cannot innovate.
That's true. And that's why we are giving only 20% of the way. If it was good enough, we would give 100% perhaps if ChatGPT were perfect. That's why we are giving 80% to the expert reviewers and 20% weight for ChatGPT, because it still has its value, right? But I want to be sure that everybody here understood that we have zero problem with ChatGPT generated proposals, okay? But you have to know what you are selling. Olo, please.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, how long is this proposal period from the initial proposal to the voting, to the end of the voting phase? How long are we looking at? Are we proposing for it to be?
We have the timeline here, but we are going to open for about it will be decided by the community, but we are thinking about giving 4 weeks for the development or submission process, the entire process. Okay, thank you. Jan.
Hi. I just wanted to give a quick comment on what Walter was saying on expert reviews and mention the functionality that we have created for RFP since it was deployed today on the website. It's not visible yet until we use it, but it is related to these expert reviews. So what we did in the last round, in the regular round, was having separate experts have their reviews separately, individually, then share those reviews afterwards, come together in a call, discuss the ins and outs, and then together end up with a final review process. I believe that is similar what Rafael is aiming for and the workgroup are aiming for in Deep Funding Round 5. What we did for the RFP process, we want to have a similar thing, is that we put this whole thing online and make it visible. So a number of experts will be invited for an RFP, and they will be able to create all their individual reviews, and they will be published anonymously. So you won't know who the expert was, but you can see what his review or her review was. And then again, they will come together, they will compare notes, see what I saw that another person missed, etc., and come up with a combined score. So the combined score isn't necessarily an average of all the other ones, but it could also be tweaked a little bit because some opinion may be more valuable than others. There's some room in the future for having weighted reviews based on experts' maturity or seniority level. But let's not get into the details. The main thing here is that the idea in the RFP process and that functionality is available also for deep funding rounds is to make all the individual expert reviews visible as well as the final review or report, as Rafael calls it. That's all I wanted to add.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you. Ubio.
Hi, Rafael.
Hey.
Okay, yeah. Quick question here. These expert reviewers, can they also propose, or will they also propose?
This is this is a very polemic topic, right? That we have.
Yeah, so let me extend it so that we can answer all at once. Because I'm seeing one thing, if they can propose, then they have too much power for them to propose. If they cannot propose, then we are reducing the quality of pool already, because we are now taking people who somehow from the community have been active or contributing. Now we reduce them because we now limit them to only the expert review side as such, reducing the quality of what we would also generate and also read. So I'm also seeing pros and cons. And just to add to that, part of why I'm also bringing this, part of why I'm also bringing this question is because whoever is going to determine the prompt is going to determine is also going to influence a lot, right? So it's going to be prompt engineered, so people are going to write prompt. Are they expected to hold on to a non-disclosure agreement where those prompts cannot be revealed? Because if I can reverse engineer any prompt, right? If I understand that this is the prompt structure, then I can reverse engineer it and then just create my proposal directly in line with that prompt. So
okay, no, thank you. Yeah, it's totally valid, your point. However, unfortunately, having so many things to go through, I can deep dive into everything, but I'm going to give you some perspective into that. For the expert review group, this new group that we are building, they are not necessarily and mostly not coming from the community. We are reaching new oceans, let's put it this way. Okay, so it's totally valid to say that we are not losing quality or proposers because they can't propose. We are reaching universities around the world to bring more. Actually, what we are doing, it's increasing the numbers or the size of our community by doing that. We are not going to cannibalize our community, okay, with reviewers. So if you are a reviewer, you can't propose. If you are a proposer, you can't review, because we understand the communities here. Eventually, we are going to invite a professor in Thailand, and the professor will say, okay, I want to be an expert reviewer, very interesting. And then the professor realized that, you know what, I want to propose. Yeah, it might happen. But then it has to go and propose. But we are going to expand these numbers in a way of expert reviewers, in a way that we are reaching new areas of community to increase our community. Okay, but yes, Ubio, it's totally valid, your question, because we don't want to see this. But at the same time, if you see that in previous rounds, we had marketing proposers assessing technical proposals. So we have to find the balance, right? Not marketing, but tooling. Sometimes the person doesn't know how to computer vision. They have nothing to do. And now I am assessing and expert reviewing computer vision. So we are going to deal with this, tackle this with this new body of experts that are going to be onboarded. Okay. Answer it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just to add to that, but I still feel there's a lot more ideation we will have to do, especially with what are the non-disclosure agreements that they will have to sign. What are the and then when they want to switch from being reviewers to propose, what are this? Because if at any point anybody is at the other side and then turning this side, it comes with so much knowledge. So I just feel there's a lot more that can be done to protect that space. But I think I love the fact that we are onboarding new people, and I think I really love that idea.
One thing that's important before others jump is we can structure this prompt of the ChatGPT in a way that we only have the prompt done after the submissions period end, right? So this way, it's well, if you can't change your proposal anymore, now we are having the prompt, so you can't adapt your prompt, even if someone that created the prompt as well, it's going to give a better score or report to that or proposal. So we can engineering or design this process in a way that it makes even more secure for to avoid any strategic participation here. We can think, and please, in the form, if you have ideas towards that, please, you are more than welcome, everyone. Cardoso.
Yes, sorry, I have too many questions, I guess, with all of this. But one question I have is, so for example, now we have an expert reviewer that goes through the whole process since the beginning until the end with the team. And like, do we have any process? Do the expert reviewer actually get assessed on their reviews? Do we have any process to track that, or how does that part work?
Are you asking about who is going to review the reviewer?
Yeah, if there is someone. I'm just asking if there is someone to review the reviewer.
Yeah. Yes, but basically, imagine that you are a reviewer, expert reviewer, and you have your you were designated with a proposal. You want the best for that proposal, right? Because you want to keep going with that proposal. You want to not only have more hours to work with that proposal and therefore more incoming, but also you want to have. I want to receive my reputation score later to have. I have 20 awarded proposals that become solid projects or services in the platform. So it also has this perspective. But yes, we are going to have the expert leads of this group that are going to review the reviewers. Yes, we do have this, and a way for, as we do now, a way of the reviewer of the proposers to get to appeal if something is done. Hey, no, your milestone is not good or something like that. They can
my concern is the opposite. Like, because in the beginning, yeah, you have as an expert reviewer, you have all the incentives to do everything to support the proposal. But once it gets approved, you could eventually have incentives or even a payment on the side to approve things that are not good enough, because you still get paid for your work, you get some extra. And I was just wondering if there was a process to prevent that situation.
We already have this. We already have this. So for instance, now we have the coordinators of the review circle and the reviewers, right? So the reviewer will review the process, and then it's audited by the coordinators. We have now two sets of pools, business and technical, and the coordinators audit the final result and check if that is. On top of that, we also have deep funding going. It's not as in depth as the coordinator because the first scan already came. But in general, we have this kind of 3 layers of checking. Yeah, it's okay. So they promised to deliver a demo on this part of the service or the project, and they deliver it. So it's here, okay, makes sense, and so on. So we do have something in this direction. Initially, the reviewers were to be anonymous, right? But for the reason you are mentioning, it was more for the protection of them to avoid teams reaching with rage to the reviewer. But for the reason you are mentioning, it's not something that we can give. Well, it's not the solution.
Yeah. So just another thing, and I'll finish with my questions. so right now, every reviewer is going to be an expert in some AI field. I think it's usually a well-paid field. So are we going to increase incentives for reviewers, or what is the plan to attract them and for them to feel it's worth their time?
We have to remember a few things here. Not everyone has the same motivation as financial, for instance. Some, as we had in the last expert reviews process, I was amazed by not only one, but few expert reviewers that said, you know what? You don't have to pay me. I did because I believe in this and I want to have it. Okay? And I want to support. So they are clearly not driven by financial rewards. On top of that, we do have, because they believe in the mission and vision and etc. of SingularityNET. On top of that, we also have a situation. Imagine we might not be there yet, but perhaps in a level. We do have peer reviews in the academy, and they also are not paid for it. They are there making this because of recognition, because they like, or other motivations. And I have a third or fourth top item here, which is we are a global organization. And for some regions that still and also have very good professionals in AI field, and they have knowledge, they are more than able to deliver quality reviews and work. What we reward, financially speaking now, it's also enough for them to be part of this if they are only willing to have the rewards. I understand that in many regions of the world, or at least a few, what we reward, financially speaking now, it's not that amazing, right? But for some regions that still have quality professionals, it's already good, right? And that's tied also to my answer to Rubio when I say that we are going to reach new oceans or new locations for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for your input and question. Ayo.
All right, thank you very much. Mine is not a question, which was why I didn't raise my hands for so long, because I didn't want to interrupt the questions. All right, so when you make a proposal, which is basically making a plan, the reality is that execution always introduces changes to the plan. Naturally, I mean, this happens all the time. You have something in mind when you are proposing, and then when you get to the field, you go to learn. You think you're going to execute, but you're actually going to learn. Now, usually that causes a change or changes. Now, changes are costly, not in the negative sense, but they cost something. If they don't cost money, they cost time, they cost effort, and sometimes they cost enthusiasm. People can lose motivation, people can get tired along the way. And this is something that people don't talk about enough, how you just get tired and all of that. So when I saw that the ideation pool is structured, I really love that, because it takes care of that. You don't have to take your proposal straight to AI service pool, right? You can have the time to execute in learning, to execute in planning. And I just wanted to say that I think this is good. It saves everybody, a lot. Thank you so much. This is a good one.
And yeah, thank you, Ayo. Yeah, that's the case. And I saw many proposals with very good teams that when got to the onboarding phase, they were lost, because it's a very specific thing, right? Perhaps you have a lot of expertise, but not in the onboarding process. So by having and you going through the ideation phase, you are going to receive, it's a small amount, but you are going to receive some funds to say, okay, I'm being paid to understand the onboarding process, to get in contact with people because I have my time and I'm going to do it, among other criteria or parameters as I mentioned, right? So yes, that's true. It's good to have ideation, but we are not enforcing regarding this for people to go through the process of ideation. Okay, but thank you, I for your input. Walter.
To follow up on what Ube was saying, as someone who has been proposing, very bluntly, if I have to choose between pursuing my own interests versus assisting the program, and there is a conflict, I will choose what I'm doing. So, I'd like very clear guidance on what's allowed or not for the ones who are active proposers, any conflict. Personally, professionally, I cannot sign any NDAs. It's just, freedom to operate issue. So, just consider that, that even just any doubt on whether there will be a perception of a conflict or self-dealing, in sciences, people who are your professional reviewers are very much active in the field, are also publishing, are also doing research. So the kind of competitive aspect is supposed to be taken care of by professionalism, not by a prohibition. So that's kind of like my take on the conflict or possible conflict between proposing on one side and reviewing on the other. And I laud you on the idea of assigning sort of, a central point to help and oversee a project. That's tremendous, because that's what I found for myself, is I could assist some projects, but at the milestone level, having, milestone 5 for a non-trivial proposal to evaluate, that was just too sudden, and I didn't feel like I could do a good job, in a couple of hours to give it a real assessment. But then it got evaluated in a couple of hours by somebody non-technical who couldn't even look at the source code implementation. So I have to doubt the efficacy of that as well.
Yeah, it's a valid point. But you are talking about what happened, right? Which is important, of course. But we are aiming for this new process where we are going to, as Rafael here mentioned, we are going to have.
But how is that
level
overseeing the project is also related to whoever's doing the milestones, where what's prized is the speed, not necessarily the in-depth review?
No, I didn't get this. Could you rephrase, please?
Well, when people are assigned basically on whoever is available of a very small pool, here's a milestone, review it quickly, and I don't see a good match between the milestone reviewer basic skill set and the type of a proposal. Maybe they look at some video because they don't even know how to look at the code and the technical part. So to me, there is
Okay. First, it all goes through this selection process of the reviewers, right? Which has to be good for us to bring people or members that are indeed experts in that area. So if you are good in computer vision, an expert, a real expert, you are going to be able to review quicker than others that have to go through a YouTube video and understand what's happening and get back to the milestone review. And also, it's interesting that you put this because we constantly, at least from the operations side, we constantly have pushbacks from the teams, the teams that are willing to have quicker and quicker and quicker results and payments, disbursements. So it's part of this balance on the process to keep the quality of the review, but also thinking on the best interest of the teams. And that's why we need, and goes again to the selection process, expert reviewers that can afford the time to do the review. Those are some key points that goes to the selection. Doing a good selection for the reviewers, not only technical. For instance, you're right, the time that they can spend on it, it's also, and the commitment that they can do, they can have, it's also important, and it's going to go through the selection process. Okay, that's why we have support of professionals that are very experienced in this, as Mahdi, for instance. Okay, thank you. Yeah, but and I have to remember you all, please, if you have ideas and better ways for doing this, please go to the form and write to us, because as you can see, we have a lot of points that we can be more assured about the quality, right? So please go think about it. You are hearing this presentation. We are going to distribute also material for you to read, and after you have a good night of sleep with that in mind, go to the form and say, I think it would be better doing this way, or I think it would be better if we go in this direction. So we are completely open to hear you. Of course, we have a balance as well of the visibility of the process, and we have to protect the program itself. We can't do anything, right? But we are going to assess individually all the feedback that you are going to give and give all together with all circles, also the best outcome for the changes in this round. So yes, please use the form. Well, next change would be a video.
I just wanted to point out that there's a question in the chat by Abdul Rahman, and I think it's an interesting question.
Okay, could you please read
Okay,
it?
I'll read it out. I think, or if he's there, he can just come up and read it out.
It's because I am on the...
Okay, Abdul Rahman, do you want to come up, or I can help you read it out?
Thank you. You helped me. My connection is not really good here. I don't know if you can hear from me.
Okay, so I'm asking, I'll read it out. He said, I want to ask, how can we manage a situation where we have proposals that have more than just an AI field to implement in them? When we have expert reviewers that are obviously the basis of their choice is on their expertise in AI service fields. How can such proposal be managed and reviewed? And I would probably say adequately.
No, so how we can manage, could you repeat, Lubio?
Maybe let me explain that question better. What he's saying is, so let's say you have a proposal, right? A proposal is not just about the AI services. There are other components to that proposal. But now we are choosing expert reviewers based on their competence in AI. But the substance of that proposal is not only about its AI service, but other components of that, which the expert reviewer does not have that competence in. So how are we, what's the thought on that direction?
That goes towards the Ken's topic and question, right? Oh, social good, culture, and that cultural approach and as such. So again, it's not perfect. Nobody's saying that's perfect the way we are doing. But given the possibilities and resources, what we are doing is through this process of having multiple people, members, expert reviewers, assessing it, can give a different perspective than only one reviewer. And also, I know it was debated here, also having the ChatGPT process with a correct and proper prompt, also wanna give, even if it's in a smaller percentage of the way, we wanna give this possibility as well to things that falls out of our main scope, right? However, not necessarily we are going to consider only if the proposal is for social good or if it has a good market or something. But these components as a criteria are going to be there as well. Okay, I would love to hear suggestions on how this expert group could be built. For instance, should we have industry experts as well to assess? Remember, and I mentioned that we are going to create this matrix, right? We are going to have the AI fields and we are going to have the industry fields. Initially, or at least what is being suggested here, is for us to have, we are having the industry columns for the voters, for them to assess, right? And let's not forget this. The voters are also some sort of experts, or not experts, but they are also gatekeepers into this. So if I am from the gaming industry and I am checking here, I have no idea if the AI is good, but I'm checking on the gaming. Okay, this doesn't make sense. So I'm going to give a low grade in the voting, or I'm going to give a high one. So we have many small features that can give this perhaps not proper, but can reduce the bias in the process. But again, if you have a better way of building this, for instance, bringing industry expert reviewers along with the technical ones, we can check. But also have in mind, if we decide to go with the best and perfect process, this might take longer and longer to have the round open. I'm not willing to scare anyone here or to push it. It's just because it goes through the community decision as well, right? If you have to now to select 15 industry experts and more than one, and also the 6 or 7 technical or expert reviewers in the field of AI, it might take longer. We also have creativity in many during the work group, within the deep funding staff. Sometimes we have this would be very, very good. However, is it pragmatic to make it? That's the balance that we have to reach. Okay. Please, again, bring your ideas. I'm going to personally read one by one, also work group, all circles, distribute to the community as well for us to check if it's possible to implement the ideas that you are bringing. Okay. This whole 2 hours and 7 minutes that we are still in the less than half of the changes, it's meant for you to have this view and bring and improve it. Okay. Anyone else would like to go here? Nope. Okay. Veto power for deep funding. This is something that in the last case, if deep funding sees that a project is harming, for instance, under the ethics scope, a SingularityNET or anything like this, we would have the possibility of veto that proposal. Okay. Of course, this has to go through criteria. We are not going to arbitrarily say, yeah, no, we are vetting this, okay? This criteria is also going to be deployed here, and also inviting the community if you believe some topics should be criteria for veto, okay? For instance, let's say it goes through and it goes through the eligibility review, it goes through the expert review, it goes through, and then we, at a late stage, we say, this is not aligned with the strategic objectives. So what to do? Should we let the proposal goes through the voting and be voted potentially, or should we veto? That's the point here. Communication and inquiry handling. We are suggesting to create a Telegram channel specifically for proposers. Until now, we don't have a specific channel for talking to proposers. We have the channels after to talk to the awarded teams. But if we want to announce something, even though we are still announcing many channels that we have, we want to be assured that the proposers are at least in that channel following, okay? Through communication, feedback, etc., etc. So we want to give this opportunity as well. The channel in Telegram that we have now partially attends this, but sometimes a proposer says something, even for us to, after 20, 30 messages, even for us to see that, it takes time, and also it might be lost for the other proposers to see, right? And another important benefit here is to make, sometimes the announcement has to go only for the proposers, right? It can happen as well. So instead of making the full announcement to the whole community ecosystem, everyone, we are going to be more focused in the communication there. This is another change that we are suggesting to bring. And now we have the number of proposals limits. We have some teams and proposers that are proposing, and we are amazed by what they are doing with these multiple proposals that comes. But at the same time, we have to be aware that the proposals are open. So we can receive from anyone, basically, a proposal, and perhaps multiple proposals that can be voted. And this process might harm the program under the sense of the quality, but also under the situation that we discussed here of having projects that takes too long to be onboarded or delivered because this team has many projects, awarded projects. And they are not only with the awarded projects that they have to deliver, but they are also proposing in the new rounds that comes. So they split the effort toward in many directions. I've been receiving feedback from circles, from community as well for a while now that detects these situations where we have this proposal. So another perspective or point of view that we can give to this is to understand that by having less proposals in projects under the umbrella of the same member of that team and member, okay? We are not talking only about the team itself and the lead proposer. They are going to expedite the delivery, because they want to propose again. So they are going to run faster with their project in order to go to the next proposal and be awarded and again, and then creating this cycle of delivering more projects in a quicker manner. One thing is to have 2 years and after 2 years you deliver 10 projects, right? Not ideal, even for what we just discussed here. The technology evolves too fast. It's better to have quick turnarounds for the deliverable of these projects, and then have the projects, the 10 projects or more delivered in the 2 years, but escalating. That's the main purpose of these proposal limits here. We can discuss everything actually, but the number of proposals, for instance, and here again, proposals and projects, it's the total, okay? Because let's say you have 2 proposals, 2 projects, 2 awarded projects, and you go and propose 3 new projects. So now you have the 3 projects, the 3 proposals being selected, and then you are going to have 5. So under this situation, you are going to be able to propose only 1 more project, which is again connected and linked to the quality. I've been seeing 2, and other members have been seeing that one team propose plenty of proposals as well, but it's there, and it lacks focus on delivering quality proposal, quality project, and so on, so on, so on. So in this aspect, we would limit the total number for the 2 proposals and projects. Yeah. Questions? Let me see. No, we don't have. Remarks, questions, vetoes on the suggestions, etc., etc. Rubio.
Yeah. So just like what Ken just wrote, what I wanted to say. I think this is so I have a remark and maybe another something to propose as well. So let me see if that would be accepted. One is that I totally do like this new approach of 3 and 5, and again, maybe the question could be, if it is if a project is ongoing, can they let's say they have 3 projects that are ongoing and delivering, can they actually propose in that instance? Just some questions around that, but I don't think I do have answers, right? But I think it's actually a nice fact that we are beginning to look into this direction, and I think it speaks to the fact of the quality. We may just have to look into, okay, to what extent is that, and all that. So yeah, the second thing I wanted to say is, so this is, I'm giving a personal opinion. I think this is now based on me. I know that my time was supposed to be cut off at exactly like 18 minutes ago. I had another call to jump on. I had another thing to do here with family, but I had to stay through. And I'm guessing that that might also be with other people who might have extended their time. And this may be affecting the quality of response that we might be getting and feedback. So it's possible we just rush through the remaining part of it and get very little engagement now, because people are beginning to reduce and are going down, right? So now we are 20. I know the conversation is great, right? And that's
the last
only
one.
reason why yeah, so I'm proposing, because I really want to drop out, but I still want to be here because it's important. So I don't know, can we do this again next week? Can this conversation be taken to circles? What other stuff can we do around? Because this conversation needs to be had, and yet still, I think we are at that Maxwell, how the diminishing returns now, where the more time and then the feedback and quality is beginning to reduce.
Why can't be as well in a synchronously way? We have the forms, we have channels to do that. For doing that, it necessarily needs, and again, I'm not here saying no, okay? It's because we have also in the pipeline other important things in that, for instance, the community portal, and we also have the All Circles meetings next week that we would like to present and discuss with them some findings towards this feedback. But we can discuss about having another town hall, perhaps a special one, to discuss more items here. But the most important thing here is for all of the community to go through the documentation that we are going to release on these changes and have written perspective. We have the spoken perspective, we have the written one, right? So yes, it's a valid topic.
Yeah, maybe let's hear from other people. I'm proposing a special town hall for next week. I don't know if that's something that other people can agree as well, so that we can finish it up. Or if everyone feels we should finish it now, I may just have to stay through and just be listening, but I may not be contributing actively. I'm just talking on my own.
Okay, and Nubio, thank you very much for your participation and the effort of being here. Okay, thank you. Yeah, but
we also had, just to inform you, Rafael, around 8 people left the call already. We still have plenty. It's great, but as time goes by, people also start dropping.
And we are going to reduce and reduce and reduce indeed, and that would be good to have more, but perhaps the recording and etc. It's the last change. It was the last change. Okay. Now it's the timeline about it. So the timeline that we are going to give it. But let's do the following. Timeline, it's rather easier to read and etc. in the documentation. It is debatable as well. People can say, hey, no, 9 weeks, it's not enough. Let's put more time for the submission. Let's put more time for the expert reviewers. Still, we want to hear from you. Okay, please. And here, the last slide. Next steps would be until September the 25th, submitting the feedback form. We are talking about next Wednesday. So 1 week for the community to read material, go through videos and discuss and go in Mattermost and say what they think. And we would get the forms, assess, and we would go also to the all circles. And why is that? Why it's important as well to go through the all circles? Because, of course, they are part of Deep Funding, right? Even though it's centralized, but because of this feasibility and viability process of the changes. The all circles, for instance, marketing knows their limits. Review circle knows their limits, and so on, so on, so on. So again, it's about, we know it could be perfect. We could design here something that would be perfect. It would take 6 months perhaps, but we could. But then what? How to deliver and execute this, right? So we have to go through this process of checking, and also because here we have our all circles, they were invited as well to this, and also having the perspective of this important part of Deep Funding on the execution of all that is being suggested and proposed. Then we would adapt the suggested changes with the feedback received, right? We would go through and say, oh, it's a valid point, makes sense, let's make it. And then we'll get these changes and make the final version, considering the feedback that the community gave, considering the feedback that those circles also brought into this feasibility of the process, and then presenting potentially in a town hall or in another way the final version of these changes. Okay, expected time frame 1 month for getting there with this back and forth. Okay, so with that, we are talking about potentially starting the round in more than a month now. But we don't want to set dates, as we want to be decentralized and take all the feedback in account. Last one. Oh, here's the link to the community feedback. Okay, I'm gonna share in a blog post that's going to go through with these suggested changes, perhaps even better explained than myself here, and also the link to the form for you to give your perspective.
Also, guys, the PowerPoint is in the community website. AO put it there already, so you guys can go check it out.
That's good.
And yeah, I don't know, Rafael, what do you think? Should we do any kind, maybe not a town hall, but a feedback session or something like that, where people could read the document and come with questions or whatever? Or how should we decide on that?
Well, we can. Again, I would love to hear the community. What do you prefer? Because we have this situation of, if we take longer to discuss, it will take longer to start the round. I am all for it. I am not here saying that I prefer one or another, but it has to come from the community, right? So should we take longer discussing the changes at expense of starting earlier the round, or should we start the round as soon as possible to keep going, and etc., right? How could we take this decision of perhaps having a special town hall or special feedback session?
Maybe, I don't know, can we do a poll on maybe Telegram or Discord? I say Telegram or Discord because sometimes people don't go as much to Mattermost or Lumio. So, and there's probably a lot of people who are not aware and might want to say something, right?
Which is also a problem, right? At least people that are not involved and doesn't want to engage into these discussions and ideating, giving their perspective, if we should take more or less time to discuss and take longer. So other reasons might surface for them to choose one or another. But should we?
It was just an idea for me.
I would have more time to work, so I am okay with going and push forward as well the beginning of things, and no
Guys in
problem.
the call, what do you guys think? Does anyone, I know what Ubio thinks, and the rest of the people, does anyone wants to chime in, say something right now while you can? Would love to hear from you.
I think this close to the end of the year, it reminds me of a previous round where we're edging closer to the end of the year as well, and we wanted to speed things forward to actually hold the round before. So perhaps the approach would be to do the best we can to hold the round and then continue to evolve within the new year. That's my opinion, my preference. It might just be the thrill of competition that's driving me on, but that's where I'm standing there.
No, that's perfect, Ken. Perfect.
I think for me, I'm considering from the perspective of circles. There's the half-yearly reports. I mean, there's several things going on. So it can be easy to promise that we need more time, but in reality, time is never enough. Maybe we can try to just push the forms, because I mean, this eventually comes down to commitment and interest. If we think this is going to, if I think this is going to impact me, then I will make do with the time that it's available. But that's one. And the second angle to it is that it's not going to become perfect now. It's always going to be something that we keep improving. And so if I take what we've done so far, I mean, this is considerably very good improvements, and and we can. So if we I think we may go forward. I think maybe we should just fill the form, talk asynchronously, and then see how it goes.
Let's then do something more flexible. Let's try September 25th with the forms. If we don't get enough feedback, we extend for another week, right? Because here with what we have, 20 people, it's hard as well to say, oh, let's do a poll here and then we are going to decide, right? So let's keep pushing. We have marketing, we have events, we have developer outreach, perhaps to push this form and the presentation and everything, and then get more and more feedback. And if by September 25th, okay, we had so little, so few forms. Let's extend. And this can even be discussed again with the community, asynchronous. Hey, we only had this. Do you guys think it's enough? Right? Going through this focus group and etc. to talk. Let's keep it open. It's better. The presentation, the slides that you upload, they are PDF or link online?
Is the link.
Okay, so if I update here, it's going to be updated.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to update these next steps here to cover what we are talking now. Okay. Okay.
Can we have the form link in the chat as well? If maybe people can pick it.
Yeah, I would even go through I prepared, but considering people are already tired of my voice and everything, we can. But yes, I can give the link to the Google form there. But I was trying to what's the form here, right? So what role, what your perception about the change pulls for proposal, click here and get to the slide, specific slide of it, and any consideration so you can write more about it. And for all the changes that we have here, okay? And then you can come with your own changes, okay? And say, hey, wasn't covered, but I really think that this change addition would make all difference. So please come here and tell us, and about the process of the community work group as well, and how it developed. Okay, so just to give you an overview, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
For consideration on your time. I have to say that I love this community. So many people here after 2.5 hours. It's to be in love with, indeed. Thank you for being here. Thank you for holding up. Thank you for bringing your ideas, your perspectives. And believe me, we heard and we are going to take in consideration everything that you brought for us to make it better.
Thank you as well for the presentation, and thank you everyone. Don't forget, next week we have half-yearly reports presentations on the Open All Ends at 2 p.m. UTC on Wednesday. So if you can make it, don't miss it. I think it's very nice to see what the circles have been doing and how everything has been growing and evolving in deep funding. And for the town hall, it will be the week after the next, and we'll see if we have another session, if it's needed or not. So far, let's do these feedback forms and get ourselves heard in that manner. But yeah, thank you everyone, and have a great week. Bye.
Thank you. Cheers. Good weekend.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, bye guys.